Good evening all, it's Yankee Wally here. Here I am in my little cave in Wales. It's 10 past 12. On Sunday now, we're going into Sunday. I've done 3 videos up till now, and each time I've had to stop the video because things happened, like my cat jumped on me, and then I saw a foreign object or a foreign... Well, what happened was I was sat here and I was doing the video, and I saw something brown, longish, on the floor, and I thought, oh my God, it's moving, and it was. So it wasn't a hairball or anything like. I know it wasn't anything that the cat had done. And I looked and it was heading straight for me. I thought, bloody hell, what is this? It was huge, the size of my thumb, only a bit longer, and I looked and I realised it was a slug, but I have never, ever seen a slug that big in my life. Well, maybe I have, but I don't remember. So when they're smaller, I don't get so terrified. I just get a big, it's not kitchen roll, it's actually bigger than kitchen roll. It's about 2 foot wide, and it's called bedroll, hygiene roll. I get it from Amazon because I blow my nose so much. Anyway, got a great big piece of that. And I wrapped it up, and I thought, oh, please don't move, don't wriggle, don't do it, don't try and fall out the paper. And I carried it on. Normally, I open the patio door and fling it over the fence, and it lands then on the grass opposite. And I'm sorry about the paper, I'm not going to go out and collect that and put it in the bin, because I don't like slugs. I won't kill them, but I don't like them. So anyway, I carried it. I wasn't going to take a chance throwing this because it was so big. It was like weighed like a potato. I thought it might drop down and maybe fall on my foot or something. So I put it down the toilet. Oh God. And my toilet broke about 2 years ago, and I haven't bothered getting them out to fix it. I bought the part that I needed, but I fixed it myself with some, well, it was an old telephone charger cable that I tied around the handle broke. You know, the handle, it snapped. And I do give it a bit of a fierce press, but I don't know. I have to pull this piece of charging cable up, and away it goes. But I also, I make it so that it doesn't use too much water, because I'm on a meter and I just have a small flush, you know. But of course, I can't adjust it just like that. Not when I had a slug in my hand. So I just pulled the flusher, looked and see if it had gone, and then that was it. I came back, and I sat here and I thought, oh my God, no. What if it didn't go? What if it was just down there around the U-bend? What if it's coming back? Can slugs breathe underwater? I hope they can, because I didn't like to think I was killing it. I think slugs are pretty good in wet places, so I didn't think I was being cruel. But I thought, God, what if the damn thing comes back up? What if I'm sitting on the toilet maybe later on tonight or tomorrow morning, and it comes up and bites me? Ooh. So I had to go and check again and give it another couple of flushes, but it's gone now. I'm all right now. I don't feel too bad. But the reason I don't kill slugs, well, one of the reasons, is that in the Hindu religion, it's an Eastern religion. Most of India is Hindu. Big difference between Hindus and Muslims. I hope you know that. Now, in Hinduism, they've got 33,000 gods. You can worship any one of them you like. 33,000 gods, but they're all manifestations of Brahma, who's the equivalent of Jesus Christ. It's the same thing. I think all religions are connected to the same higher power, except for the Muslims. I haven't got a lot of time for them. But I do, I know that they're a peaceful Muslims, but, you know. Anyway, I was listening to, hang on. So, these Hindus, they've got a caste system. Now, I'm going from my memory now, because I didn't know I was going to say this, but I think there are 4 caste systems. And they've got the untouchables, which are the lowest class. And then you go up to the Brahmin class, and there's 2 in between. So it goes from working class, upper working class, middle class, and upper class. It's the same sort of thing, right? Now, Hindus believe that if you don't behave when you're in those lower classes, you won't get reborn any higher up the social ladder. They're a firm believer that you do come back onto this earth, which is fine. It's fine. I can believe that. I mean, I can accept that they believe that. And for instance, if you were an untouchable, then your job is usually quite horrible jobs they do. God, I've got a documentary in my playlist how these Indians, they go down drainage systems and get all the sludge out, which could be anything as well as sludge, and they wash it, and there's tiny, 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 minuscule bits of gold from the, because they always go in the drains around places where they open up old mobile phones, and in an old Nokia, well, if you had, say, 2,000 Nokias and you took them apart and you burnt the plastic and you filtered it and did this and did that, you can get maybe a gram of gold. It could be more than that, but it's a thankless task. You know, it's laborious, dangerous from the fumes and things. But anyway, the lower class than them go and pick through their dirt, their junk, their waste to find the tiny grains of gold. And that's the untouchable class. There's another one I saw where this man, he was given the rancid fat from a butcher. Rancid it was. And he used to take it back to his little stinking little, like a pod thing. And he'd boil it up and boil it up and boil it up and render it. God, I forgot what he even did with the render, but I can remember he was saying to the cameraman, "See these little bits of meat? They're very tasty. Would you like some?" And they tried to close him down because of the stink in his little pod, because this meat was rancid. But that's the sort of thing the untouchables do. That's what they do. Now, where are they going to go? If they are naughty, this is the belief of Hindus, if they are naughty in the lowest class that there is, if they die, what will they come back as? You can go up a class if you're a good Hindu, or you can go down. And I used to say, well, they probably come back as a slug. They might come back as a slug because they're coming back lower than that. And then you think, when they see that slug last night coming across the lounge floor, it could be somebody from India, or it could be somebody reborn from Britain, you know, a Hindu from Britain. You never know, you see. So the best thing to do is don't hurt anything. And I can't say I've always been like this. I've been very abusive toward insects. Never bees. Wasps maybe. Flying ants. I was ruthless when it came to flying ants, and I'm very ashamed of myself for pouring kettles of boiling water over them. I don't even like saying it. But at the time, when they were all around my back door, and I didn't know what to do, and Nippon, the stuff to kill them, was expensive. That's what you had to do, wasn't it? Anyway, that's enough about that. I don't know how I got onto that. I've been listening, and I haven't missed a day. And they are 5 hours behind us in Tallahassee, and they start the court case about 8 in the morning. So that's about 1 in the afternoon for me. And it goes on until around about 8, 9 o'clock at night. I'm not talking about the court case finishing. After the court, there's usually different YouTubers that discuss it and give their thoughts. Lawyers and people like Carl Steinbeck, who I follow. Although I'm getting a bit fed up with him lately. I don't know. I do get fed up with people on YouTube. Sometimes they're all right. And this woman today, she's on YouTube, she's saying, I don't know, this is the hardest video I have ever had to do. And so you think, okay, this is the hardest video. I don't know who she was. She just came up on my feed. I thought I'll give her a go. So then she cries, and it was genuine. You know, don't you find you're a bit more harsh on them, you know, a harsh judge when you're on YouTube channels? Doesn't take me long to think, Oh, hang on. Doesn't take me long to think, oh, you're a fraud. Click. In fact, my remote control is broke. Well, it's not broke. I got to be I got to press it more. In fact, you know what? I use two little AAA batteries in my remote, and they last me a fortnight at the most, sometimes less. I got a box of AAA batteries to go in, but it's not the battery now, it's the remote control. It's not working right. You never thought my telly's okay, but my remote is worn out. Because I'm so cruel on YouTube. Anyway, she was crying away, and then through the sobs she says, and don't they spread it out? I just want to say, look, I got my sympathy, but get on with it. And then she was saying, I'm not sure how much I want to share. Don't you mean tell? I think share is when you've got a cake and you cut it up. It's your cake and you share it. Or sandwiches that you share. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just too old for this bloody world, and sometimes the internet, this is why I've had to go for a couple of days. It just gets me. I can't take it. I think, oh, it just gets me. So this woman now, and I look at the timer on there, and then I notice that she's got long ads on. Now, if you're that distressed and it's the hardest video you've ever had to do you really have to put, because the ads, they're your choice. You can have them 5 seconds, which is the non-greedy people, and then it's like 10 seconds, and then it's a 20-second. And the more ads you click for, the more money you make. That's the top and bottom of it. So when I put a video on and I see sometimes it's 59 seconds, bloody hell, sometimes it's 30 seconds. And I've got to quickly make my mind up. Are they worth it? It's like 90 Day Fiancé or something. Are they worth it? And sometimes I think, oh, go on then. Or if I want to go to the loo a bit quick, I let the advert play. I'm not cruel, but if somebody's on YouTube and they really want to grow their channel, the best thing they can do is get their ads down to 5 seconds, because it's more polite. In my book, I would never have more than a 5-second ad. I wouldn't be so cheeky as to think I could demand that amount of attention from, or somebody is willing to hang around for 30 seconds or 60 seconds. And if you suddenly found out that I got monetized and I started banging up 60-second ads, you'd have every right to have a go at me, but it won't happen. And if it did happen, it would be YouTube doing cruel things, because I wouldn't do it. But anyway, so she was going on and on and on. And then she said, well, then she told what her issue was, which was something sad, very sad. But there's probably 100 a day going through the same thing. And then I don't know if I want to share anymore. I don't think I can share anymore. I may share later. But I may not. Oh, God, that was it for me then. I said, ta-ra, love. I give her a ticket, but I was gone. I just can't take it. And then sometimes, and these are the worst of all, is when I see, cruelty to animals. I can't even say it, and I can't look at it. And I just hate it. And people should put a warning on that. I've had enough of seeing things like that. And I remember this one girl put a really horrible, I can remember it now, but I'm not going to tell you, because if you're like me, it'll stick in your brain and you won't stop thinking about it. I said, why did you do that? Why did you put that up? I said, that's horrified me. And she said, well, people have got to know. I said, yes, and I think they will know from that. It was terrible. And it was an Asian gentleman responsible, and he was running after an animal. Horrible. Anyway, we've done a whole, I say me and my television. When did it start? It's day 6 yesterday, wasn't it? Day 6. And the prosecution have rested their case. They finished. They're done. There's nothing more. Oh, why is it always... I got to blow my nose. 1 sec. And this is one of the most diabolical... I've never heard anything like it in my life before. This is the most cruel, barbaric, absolutely, they must have totally hated Dan Markel, because there was no love lost when he died. And I think the biggest culprits, well, two of them, is Wendy and Donna Adelson, both of them. Now, they don't speak to each other anymore. And last week, Wendy had to come in and give evidence, but she's cleverly covered herself with a, what's the word when you can't be done for anything? You know, but she cannot be charged with any information that she gives. It's a bit of a cop-out for everyone, really. And everyone is very angry as to why Wendy hasn't been arrested yet. I see why she's not arrested yet, but I think that the police are doing this in the right order, because throughout this week in court, they've brought in Wendy Adelson. They've brought 2 prison snitches in, which was pure gold. And they brought in, who else? Oh, I've got the list of them all, haven't I? Hang on a sec, I got a list here somewhere. There's poor old Harvey. Why the long face, Harvey? I wonder. And this, look at this. This is one of the lawyers bringing in some records into the court, right? And look at the name on the box. Wendy Adelson. Wendy. So I think that she's coming in next. I've got a list here somewhere of every... Oh, here they are. Yes, Charlie Adelson's been in. Rob, Wendy, Sigfredo Garcia. He was the one who got 20 years. Catherine McBanue has been in. And most of them are police, you know, when handwriting analysts and FBI and all sorts of things like... Oh, and June Chinder. She's a Florida Dolphins cheerleader, Charlie's ex. Charlie had a certain type that he likes, like sort of Thai girls or Filipino girls, people like that. He was a right playboy, though. You can't deny that. And he was not a bad-looking fella. But unfortunately, as you can see here now, that was him when he had his dental practice. And that's sorry. The guy was making loads of money. He was making loads. He used to have these really posh cars like Lamborghinis and whatever the posh cars are, you know. And he used to change his cars. He used to have boats. He used to make a lot of money. Now, his job, he was a periodontist. Now, a periodontist, you know, when I had my implants, I had almost a full mouth. I've got a few of my own, so I can honestly say I have got my own teeth, which is good. Not all of them, but some of them. But anyway, I mostly got implants. The guy, now my dentist, she advertised doing implants, and she did all the, I should say, donkey work for it, you know. But the man who actually drilled into my jawbones, he came from Italy. And I remember, and I had to come in, he came over twice. Well, I don't think he was just seeing me. I mean, I was in his chair. I would say that he does 1 or 2 a day maximum. But of course, the money that they get paid. So he came over from Italy. I suppose they don't have many patients in Italy. I don't know. But anyway, he came in and he did my job. And I came back, I think, a fortnight later. He did the upper jaw and then the lower jaw. I know he did one of them wrong. I know he did. Because she had trouble fitting the, I shouldn't say, Vida had trouble fitting the top pieces over. And I know which one because his drill slipped. But we won't go into that because that's... And I had to take a drink of antibiotic, 3 milligrams of amoxicillin, in a drink, so it goes into your bloodstream quicker, about an hour before I got there. So just before I rang my Uber. And then I had to take a course of antibiotics straight after. And Oh God, it was terrifying. That was terrifying. But you got no choice. You got no choice. And those periodontists, they come over and they do the drilling. And then there was a guy upstairs in the attic. He was the little technician that made the teeth. So the dentist, the technician, and the periodontist, they all work in sync. So a dentist's practice probably hasn't got enough work to keep a periodontist in full-time employ, because implants are still not the normal reason people go to the dentist, do they? It's sort of a specialist thing. It's akin to false teeth, only better, you know. So that's what he did. So that's why he travelled around. He would do probably one or two patients a day, and then he would be paid handsomely for that, because implants, there's a lot of people in this country, they go over to Turkey, but I find the work in Turkey is far less quality, inferior quality to what I've had. Again, though, I was offered two types of a plan, you know, costings. I was offered a budget version, or an ordinary version, and then another version. And I made a point of looking for what they were using on the more expensive ones, as opposed to, and then I did all the Google searches, and the implants that I had were called, I think it's called Straub, German, Straub, something like that, Straub, Straub implants. They're by far the best, and I did pay for that. I did pay, and I would do it again, but I can't because I haven't got the money again, but I regret nothing. But people that go over to Turkey, the people that go over and just trust them and just, they're given a price, they're not given a costing plan and say, do you want these or these? And let people choose whether or not they want the more expensive. So if you're ever having implants, ask what implants they're going to use. Make sure that you look, because there's a lot of conning going on, you know. And over in Turkey, I noticed that the teeth that they use on you, they're not the top quality. You can see that they're not. Anybody can see it. I think they come in one colour, white, or maybe white or ultra white. Too white. I don't know if they're trying to make us look a fool over here in UK, but I've never seen anyone with implants that are not snowy white, too white. And I didn't have those. When I next do my full facial when I get my laptop to work, I have got my laptop, please believe me, I did buy the laptop, I got it here. But I don't know, I've got to get, well, I don't know what's happening to me lately, to be honest. I don't know what's happening. I'm just, I'm too lazy to even get out of my own way. I just don't know what's the matter with me. But I have been eating a lot of salads. I had a food delivery yesterday, and I always order, on the day when, I order enough fruit and vegetables and salads or whatever to last me a day or a day and a half, because as you know, I haven't got a fridge, I haven't got a cooker, but at the same time I can afford them. I've got too much things to do before, and that is something. I had an appointment with the housing. Did I tell you it was on Friday? So anyway, I'm sitting here now on Thursday, and the phone rings, and I look at it, and it said Lucy from the housing. So I pick up the phone, and I say, hi Lucy, yeah, 1 a.m. tomorrow, check in. She said, I'm over here now. She said, I can wait you a couple of hours. Oh, I said, I'm gonna have a shower and everything tonight, ready for tomorrow. I said, I'm in my pajamas and I'm not looking my best. So it was Thursday, that's right. So she let me off, and I've got another appointment with her now for next week. I didn't feel bad because she said, we did say Friday, last Friday. We did book a Friday, and then I said there's coffee morning there. I don't know, but she did forgive me, and she was really nice about it. So now I'm seeing her, I can't even bloody remember now. I think it's next. I can't. It's early in September. God, don't let me miss it again. Anyway, where was I? So anyway, Charlie's doing okay. He was doing okay money-wise. And if you went to the dentist or went to the Adelson Dental Institute, as they called it. Now, Harvey, I think, was just an ordinary dentist, and it was Charlie that did all the periodontist work. So all that means really is that he's been trained to drill into people's jawbones and put the implants in, the strobe implants or whatever implants he used. And they are expensive. There's no way of saying it isn't expensive. Maybe it'll get cheaper in years to come, but it does involve an operation. In fact, it's 1, 2, 4 on 4, 4, 8 drills into my jawbone. Got to make sure your jawbone can take it as well. If your jawbone's not strong enough, if you haven't drunk your milk as a child or taken calcium tablets or something like that, if you've got a powdery jaw or a weak jaw, or you've had your jaw broken, I don't know. You've got to think about how strong your jaw is. Luckily, my jaw is quite strong. I've never had it broken. There's something in there. So anyway, Charlie was loaded with money and he enjoyed himself. He was the boy about town. He was his mother's little darling. She absolutely loved him, but she would pay his bills for him. She would remind him to do this. She was like his bookkeeper. And they had a chat every day, and everything that Charlie said to his mother, she would accept it and give him a little bit of praise. You could see that Donna knew what she was doing. She did the same with Wendy. Let me give you some ideas now of what I'm talking about. Here's one. This is from January the 17th, 2013, was it? Yeah, this is before she left Dan Markel. Donna sends this to Wendy. Okay, honey, so you think I'm nuts, but when you get a moment, check out some of these whom I've pre-screened for you. She was going on a dating site or a dating web page or an app or something, and she'd find people that she thought were good enough for Wendy. Warrior of Love, lawyer, I like him. Lungman, 111, polymerologist from Peru. AAPMD, another polymerist. Looks interesting, says Donna. Bobby Digital, another lawyer. Funny sex, Jewish. AVP 82, worth a look. Now, if I was doing this for my daughter, the one with funny sex, gone. Anyone that uses sex as their name, they're not worthy. No. I don't like those sort of smutty people. But anyway, Donna obviously doesn't care, because she'll find out first if he's Jewish, he got money, maybe. I'm just sharing some interesting possibilities. After all, you're going to be in Miami here and there, so why not see what's out there? Give it a look at least. For me. Love you, Mom. Well, good God, I'd shudder if my mother sent me that. I'd say, leave me alone. Well, my mother would never do that. I remember once when she said, this is before she died, like the year before she died, she'd say, all I want to do, Said, is to see you and Rod, my brother, settled with somebody. And the thing was, my mum, she was married like 4 times. My sister had one marriage and it broke down. She never married again, mind. My brother had one marriage and it broke down. He never married again. I had one marriage and it broke down and I never married again. And I think deep down, Mum knew that we had just about had a guts full of the complications of marriage and how people can make an argument out of nothing and how it can pretty much, not wreck your life, but it certainly makes you think twice and you're a bit more wary. Even if it hasn't happened to you, it can happen to you, It doesn't mean that your second marriage is going to be any better, or your third, or your fourth. My poor mother, by the time she got to number 4, I think she was looking for love. Don't think she ever found it, but I think she felt like she couldn't leave husband number 4. I don't think she was happy with Gethin at all. And as it happened, Gethin turned out, after my mum had died, Gethin turned out to be a right scallywag. But that's another story for another day. He behaved just as I thought he would, and just as I had sussed him out 20 years earlier. Very crafty man. But anyway, so that was Denmark. Right, let's go to, here we go. So Donna is in prison and she makes friends. Now, you don't make friends in prison very easily. In fact, what I mean is you don't want to make friends in prison. Be very careful. Be very careful. You're better off on your own in prison with a good book. Because if you look like you're reading a good book, they'll look at you as an intelligent person and they'll take a bit more, they'll be a bit more cautious. Because most bullies and yard people and Latin kings or whatever they are not educated. They're just not. So if you can put them off by reading, get a book that's harder than you understand and just sit with it. Like, what's his name? Stephen, not Stephen, the man who it was in a wheelchair. Stephen Hawking. Get one of his books, the history of the universe, and just read that. And that's what I would do in prison now if I went back there. Anyway, Donna was making friends hand over fist. She not only was, what's the word? She approached 2 prisoners, not 1. So she spread it a bit too thin, that she was looking for somebody to set Catherine McBanua, who was already doing life in prison, So I suppose she thought, well, it won't make any difference to Catherine, but she wanted them to think that Catherine had killed Dan. I don't know what she was up to. It was so convoluted, I just couldn't understand it. But she got not 1 but 2. The one of them was this one. Her name was Patricia Bird, I think. And this one was Dina Blackburn or something like that. And Patricia Bird obviously was, I don't know if she was homeless or if she was not very well off, but she offered her, Patricia, a trailer and a piece of land to put it on that she would own. And I think she offered her some money as well, $10,000, right? So it's the things, she would find out what they needed, what they couldn't get for themselves. And this poor lass here, Dina, she offered her, now, both her grandchildren, Lincoln and Benjamin, which were Dan Markel's sons and Wendy's sons, were having piano lessons. So there was a piano in their big high-rise condo in Miami. She offered this lady a grand piano and $10,000. Yeah, grand piano. Oh, dear. I mean, there's no chance she'll ever get a grand piano. These big things, like Rolls Royces, really, they take a lot of shifting, a lot of manoeuvring, and people start to think, do I really want a great big grand piano? Where am I going to put it? How much will it cost to take it from there to here? Will they cover the cost of that? And who's going to play it? You know, and at the end of it, I remember once when I had the parlour, this girl, she was working for me, she said, do you want a sunbed? It was an up and under sunbed. It was the one that comes down over you and you laid on the tubes as well. It was an expensive one. And she got a lot of money. Oh, I thought, this is great. So here it comes now. I think it came from like Birmingham, somewhere up north, Manchester, a long way. But they threw the cost of delivering it in with the price, which was, I think it was 600. I don't know, I was a fool. But then, you know, these are the lessons I learned. And they put it in the customer lounge. Now, the customer lounge at the time was twice as big than it was after, because I sectioned off a piece of it for my office. But the lounge was big, so they put it in there, and there was nowhere else to put it than there. And I didn't have anywhere like an office to lock it in. And the next electric bill I got was well over £1,000. And I had the cameras then working. This was at the beginning of the parlour. And then I started seeing them one after the other, after the other, after the other. Well, who can blame them? Who can blame them? So then I said, look, you've got to pay for the sunbed. I was trying to get a meter put on the side of it. And they said, well, we'll pay you. And I think they put money in their shift after they put their shift money down. Oh, and here's a £5 for the sunbed. It was far more than that, you know, and they'd go on it several times a day. They were all looking remarkably tanned. Not me. I never went on it once. Not once. But in the end, I can't remember what I did with it, but I bloody well got rid of it. I didn't want it there. And it was a liability, and it was a luxury, really. It's a bit like a piano is a luxury, a Rolls Royce is a luxury. There's only so much luxury you can fit into your life when you live an ordinary life, because it costs a lot more money when you've got posh things. It does. So this lady here, I think that if she'd had the grand piano, maybe it would have lasted her. Maybe her kids would have jumped all over it by week 2. Maybe there would have been some rings from hot coffee on it on day 3. And maybe the keys would have stuck together from somebody spilling a lolly down in between the keys. You know what I mean. Unless you had a big plastic cover on it and treated it like, you know, gold. It's not the thing to have if you're struggling to get a roof over your head when you come out of prison. You know, I want to rent an apartment. Ooh, how many of you? Oh, me and my grand piano. Not only that, she was a recovering drug addict, right? This one was. Nothing against her for that. I mean, that's why a lot of people go into prison, because they do get a chance until they find out who brings the drugs in. As you know, that happens. But for the first, well, there's an opportunity there for them to come off drugs. And she's obviously not on drugs now. But Donna was telling this recovering from drugs, Dina, that she could get in touch with this doctor when she got out of prison, and he would give her all the oxycodone and stuff that she needed. I looked him up because this is all said in the court yesterday. Dr. Jerome, and it turns out that Jerome he's now accepting new patients. I'm sure Dina will be pleased to know that, but I don't think she wants to pay him. Patient rating 2.6 out of 5. That's not that good, is it? Anyway, he used to live with Charlie Adelson. That's how Donna knows him. So she's not going to send them to Harvey to get a prescription. She's going to send them to somebody who she don't care about. Isn't that shocking? Hang on, I just want to go and get myself a cup of coffee. I want to swig of cough medicine. And, yeah, that'll do. Hang on, I'll be back now. You won't even know, because I'll come straight back. Oh, I'm back. Oh, that's better. You can't beat a good old swig of the Benylin for chesty coughs. That's the one. Benylin, the dark red one for chesty coughs, is not cheap, you know. The big bottle, I think is it over £10 now? I'm not quite sure. I can't remember, but I know I was shocked the last time I bought it. But I've still got a bottle from last year or last winter. And if ever you want to get anything from a doctor's prescription, and I'm not doing anything out of order here, I can give you, and I've given it to some people already on YouTube, the contact for my doctor, hark at me, the doctor in Dubai. Well, he's in Dubai. I don't think it works in America. I think this only, well, I don't know, you can try. But in UK, I tell you what, I ordered some stuff off him. When was it? Well, put it this way, it came today, and I ordered it 2 days ago. It's unreal. It doesn't come from Dubai, though. This is the clever way that they not manipulate, that's a bad word to use, but I suppose it's what it is. You get in touch, the doctor in Dubai is the doctor that you speak to and you answer questions to. And if they okay it, and they can say no. In fact, if you order a repeat too quick, they will tell you can't do that. But on the other hand, if you leave it a while, they give you 10% off, and then a week later, 15, and then 20. I wait till it gets to 20% before I order. So it fits everything. I get everything. And I order it, and he signs the prescription, and I think they fax it through to a chemist in UK, and they pay the bill. I don't know how, but then it comes through by a Yodel delivery man. I like him. He's my regular. He delivers every month or so to me, and he's he's lovely, and I give him a lovely write up today on the Trustpilot. I think they deserve it when they've been good. Anyway, this poor old Jerome Obid here now, who's accepting new patients desperately, I don't think he's got any idea that Donna was giving out his name to prisoners. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these prisoners, but the one that we are talking about, the one that actually said it, was this one, and she's a recovering addict. Now, that's cruel. That is heartless. It's easy to want to be nice to people they're doing cold turkey. You know, they're coming off the drugs and they're sweating and they look like they got the flu and they're not comfortable. It's a horrible feeling. And for you then to offer them something that'll make that go away, it's not getting a buzz anymore. It's maintaining normality when you've got a bad habit. You don't get your fix and go, oh, that's wonderful, I'm floating man, or whatever they say. They're just back to normal. And so that is the bad thing about it. Everything that you take, every drug that you take in this world, if you don't carefully monitor yourself, you'll want more of it to get the same effect. That's how it works. So if you can take a drug, like, I don't know, whatever you take, I'm not talking about medicine you've got to take every day, that's different. But if you leave it a couple of weeks, you get the buzz again. But when you've been taking it and you habitually take it, you've got to take kind of more to get the same effect. That's where the drugs will get you in the end. I'm not addicted to anything. Well, I am, I suppose, but my doctor knows about it. Which doctor? Well, my English doctor. Anyway, this is her, and Donna offered her a leeway, a way in to see a doctor to get prescribed. And that would be like these pain clinics that they used to have in America. I don't know if they're closing them down now. For the opioid crisis, you know. She was a nice girl too, but she's got a long record. I think she's been arrested 27 times, but she came across, both of them did, her and Patricia, they came across as incredibly honest. And the information that they, oh, and here's the thing, right? This second one here, Donna wanted her to go to the authorities and to tell them that, well, she wrote it all down for her, that's the thing. In Donna's handwriting, she wrote down what she wanted this girl to say to the authorities, that she had to memorise. Now, I'm not quite sure what Donna had planned, but of course, her son Charlie is in prison for the murder, and the two Latin kings are in prison, but she wants to get her Charlie out, so she's going to manipulate it to blame anybody but Charlie. She doesn't care about the Latin kings or Catherine McBanua. So I think she was plotting a way of making them, their role in the murder, seem more than it was. So this girl Dina said, Donna told me that I had to go to the authorities and tell them. And these are the questions. Though this is in Donna's handwriting. I mean, you can't get much better than that for nailing somebody, can you? Donna is writing this, how did you know who Donna Adelson was? And the answer, everyone knew her. She's been on the news. I've seen and heard about this on some TV shows and read it in the newspaper over the years. Why did you speak to her? I know I had information about Catherine because Donna, she knew that these girls, both of them, knew Catherine McBanua, who's now in prison for life for being the middleman. So this is the one who Donna wants to nail. Right there, we got more here. I approached her and told her I had some information about Kay, which is Catherine McBanua, And did she want to hear it? She said yes. I told her that Kay said she told Charlie on the night of the murder that some friends of hers went to Tallahassee and killed him. That's Dan Markel. No, don't ask me to explain this because even I don't understand it, but maybe you will. Maybe you can explain it to me. She asked him to give her the third of $1 million. There was a split of $1 million 3 ways, and it was split between Harvey, Wendy, and Charlie. They were going to pay $1 million between them for the hitman, something like that. I know that that's why, but of course, Dan Markel is already dead now, so I don't quite get it. She asked him to give her the third of $1 million that he was going to pay so his sister could relocate with her children to Miami. He went crazy on her. He said that he was going to be an offer to his something to kill him. You should have seen his face. He turned white. He was scared shitless. Now, this is Donna's right in this town, giving it to that girl, Dina, to learn and then throw the paper away. Obviously, she never learned it. But she said she convinced him that the murderers think a woman is paying for this. They don't know Charlie. She told him she wouldn't tell her friends who he is. She can keep him safe. He opened his safe and gave her a stack of money. Then she told him he can pay her the next lot in cash. She said he was going to give her $3,000 every month. She laughed about how easy it was to extort him. For the money, he wouldn't have to take her out to a fancy dinner. She could buy plenty of fancy dinners with her third of $1 million. So Donna is not only just writing down the bare essentials of what she's got to remember, because if you were giving somebody very illegal information that they've got to learn in court, keep it bloody simple. But Donna is getting so carried away, she's actually writing her own history here, or what she wishes it was. What she wishes it was. And she's writing this as though Catherine McBanua has said this to one of those girls. Whichever one she got to go up, they're going to say that Catherine McBanua said this to them. So Catherine McBanua went to Charlie to ask for the third of $1 million, and Catherine McBanua said she fooled her baby daddy. I haven't got the last bit, have I? He fooled her baby daddy. She said she fooled her baby daddy and Charlie, and Sigfreda would do anything for her. I think that's what it said in the end. So she's writing this story as though Catherine McBanua is telling these girls in prison that Charlie gave her a stack of cash and all this. And I if anything, when you're in a really big hole, don't keep digging. And this is a perfect example of that saying, don't keep digging. And she is digging. But not only that, just as a person with a normal brain, me, I'd know better than to put anything like that in writing. Or if I did have to put it in writing, I would follow that piece of paper wherever it went. And apparently Dina said that Donna wanted her to copy it out on her own paper in her own writing. That's good. I would have done that. But why is she still... How come the paper? She still got the paper in Donna's handwriting. Of course, then... This was... Oh, hang on, that might be it. This is Donna now, telling these girls, these snitches, what they've got to say about Katie McBanua. She's a personality trait in jail. These are hers. How easy she manipulates people to do whatever she wants. This is Donna talking about Katie as though Katie has spoken to Dina. Gets all kinds of special privileges from the officers, food, magazines, newspapers, and she's abusive. I think it's safe to say that Donna Adelson did not like Katie McBanua, Catherine McBanua. I would even go as far as to say that Donna Adelson didn't like any of Charlie's girlfriends. especially the ones that weren't Jewish and weren't white and Jewish. I hate to say that, but I think that's the way it goes, you know? I think that Donna was... I was called by the state prosecutor's office because they knew I spent a lot of time with her and they know I know a lot about her. Good God. So then they get the handwriting expert in, as you know. They're pretty good. And there we go, look, questioned and known. They got things to write down and then they compare it. I mean, it's a dead giveaway. The A's, the M's, all of them. There we go, look, she's marking them then on that one. Oh, God. That's the same one. There's Donna taking... Do you know, if you're slightly deaf or hard of hearing, they give you headphones to wear. They plug it in, you know. And Donna was sat there all morning with them on back to front or inside out. I can't remember now, but they weren't the right way round. She didn't seem to notice. She's aging, mind. She really is aging. But I've met some people that are old and evil. Have you met people that are old and you think, oh, the poor old biddy, and then you watch the way their sly eyes follow you around, or you know when somebody's got the evil in them. You can tell. And it'll send a shiver up your spine when you finally get it. She's one of those. And it's very, very, very obvious to me. Anyway, there she is there. Even though she looks like a broken woman, and I got a lot of sympathy for anybody that's done wrong until it breaks them. And I can't help it. I will see the good in them. You know, I hate to see anybody when their spirit is broken. You know, and that's why I love animals, actually, because once you break the spirit of an animal, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible to break their spirit. But I don't like anybody to lose their strength inside them, to become cowed down, you know. And you look at her now in there, and with her granny cardigans, really cheap cardigans on and blouses. But that's not her choice. I don't know, God knows where her clothes are. God knows where her money is. I mean, they were very, very rich people. Charlie was earning the lion's share, I think. But at the same time, they've paid lawyers and lawyers and lawyers and lawyers. And they rented that condo. They were going to buy it. They paid for two apartments in Vietnam. A friend of Charlie's, now Charlie, this is only my opinion, and I don't say this is true. Charlie is practically, when he's talking to his mother on the phone, those rambling phone calls where he thinks he can change the world, he's high as a kite on coke. That's what I think. I could be wrong. He could have ADHD or hyperactive something, but I don't think so. Because he's not as chatty now, you know. But I think he was partying a lot. Because the coke makes you very, very chatty and very, very confident as well. You think. When I was over in Palm Springs, my ex, he was a bit, this is back in the 80s though, so I'm okay. And he was on coke, and I couldn't help it. I got involved in it as well. And I can remember this one day, I think it was probably only the second time I'd ever tried it. And I was filled with this enormous feeling of goodwill towards everybody, you know. And we were in this sort of a party. And it was a bit crazy because the pool was very hot. It was in Palm Springs. And Bill Wickham, this friend of Ray's, he went to the local supermarket and bought their entire stock of ice and threw it into the pool. And I thought that was nuts, to cool the pool down. Ice cubes. He said it didn't even change the temperature. I wasn't anywhere near the pool, but I didn't know. But anyway, all Ray's friends were there with their girlfriends. And there was this coke, and it was everywhere. There was loads of it. And I know people say there's loads. I've never seen as much before or since. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, just like that, I got in the middle of the room and I said, "Excuse me, can I sing?" And they said, "Of course you can." And I stood in the middle of the room and I sang "Oh Danny Boy" from start to finish, all the high notes and everything. And it went on for ages and I just couldn't stop. I was singing "Oh Danny Boy," but I went really high because my voice was a lot higher in those days. The pipes are calling. Can you imagine? Then I was at a Californian party. But I did it. And Ray, he laughed. He never told me off. I felt so embarrassed afterwards. I really did. But then, I wasn't used to the stuff. So for Charlie to ring his mother and start, planning and telling her that, but he had a friend called, I think his name was Scott Rizik. I don't know, somebody, and he lived in Vietnam and he had condos of apartments, and Charlie put his mother in touch with this guy Scott, and I think they forwarded the money on. They trusted him because Charlie said so. Hold on a second, I just got to take my sleeping tablet. Woman, I'm not going to be much longer either. Here I am back. I just want to say, though, I've just been thinking, I don't want you to think that I take any of those drugs these days. I haven't taken anything serious for, I think, 40 years. So these people that have these T-shirts that say, "I survived the 80s. I think that I did. I was very, very lucky." Oh, I think Trippy's trying to come in. You coming in, Trip? He's trying to... No, he's all right. I don't think... I think if we're all honest, we've all had a dabble in this and that. And as a result of it, I can say I have tried every drug that's going at one point or other in my life. And am I lucky to be able to say here now, I don't take anything. I don't even like cannabis. I don't like the way it makes me feel. I think I told you it makes me very sarcastic. I don't like myself on cannabis. I don't like it at all. I don't like the way I speak to people. I'm flippant. And anyway, that's a good thing. I don't even like the wooziness. I'm quite happy now with my painkillers and my sleeping... Well, they're not even sleeping tablets. They're quetiapines. But, I'm totally clean, sort of. Right, now, listen. I just want to get through this now. Right. Oh, this is a good one. Look, Charlie here now ringing his mother, and he's trying to plant a possible person that could have done the murder, but not him. This is when he was still free and his mother was still free. But I did see in the paper where the state star witness that rented the hotel room is a convicted cocaine dealer. Maybe those guys were just up in Tallahassee buying drugs and just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe the coke dealer did it because Danny Markel did not pay for his drugs like he stiffed everybody else he did business with. He's texting his mother this. This whole thing is just crazy. Now, he knows what happened and his mother knows what happened. And she says, "I did not see that. Which paper?" So they are looking for people, patsies, to blame it on. They're just looking for anybody that they can, and even to the point in prison where Donna is actually going to other people to try and get them to perjure themselves and blame Catherine McBanua for killing Dan Markel. Isn't that terrible? So and Donna then, she was old enough to know a lot better. It's all well and good. And there's nothing wrong with making mistakes in your life. I really believe that. In fact, I go as far as to say it's good that you made those mistakes or you did those terrible things. Not always all of them, but the ones where you only hurt yourself. Lessons that you learn, you can't put a price on them. True, Meghan Markle didn't learn a single lesson in her life. She's never learnt a lesson, but she will. Oh, she will. Bloomberg, the people that she did the interview with the other day, what a bloody interview. Bloomberg have realised that it wasn't going to be a business interview. The girl on the Bloomberg interview, the Chinese-looking girl, was trying to say, how did you reach the price point? How did you start? How did you find out about how you set the price of a product. And she changed the subject so glibly. But anyway, that's on another subject. So it was in the Tallahassee Democrat. This was in 2016. The guy admitted to selling. So he's trying to put these cocaine dealers at Danny Markel's door. Now, Danny Markel is was a professor of law in Florida State University or Tallahassee State University, and you only got to look at him and you know he's not on drugs. Well, I'm just saying, maybe I'm wrong. So he's trying to say a convicted felon is their star witness. In other words, it's worth nothing. Therefore, he could be the one that killed Danny. Now, this is the last conversation probably between Donna and her daughter Wendy. Now, Wendy is very cleverly keeping herself away from it, but that's another very interesting thing, because little by little, as these people are being arrested and convicted, there's more and more information coming out about Wendy's involvement in things. And then Donna texts Wendy, there is a verdict. Wendy replies, I love you very much. Call if you feel like you can. Very non-committal. And then Donna says, your brother Now, this is when Charlie now goes to prison. This is the verdict. Charlie was found guilty and he got life in prison. So Donna says to Wendy, your brother protected you for years, and now you are not guilty. Now you are not guilty. See that? Your law lawyer took very good care of you. You can bury me in the dress that I bought for Lincoln's bar mitzvah. Oh! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh at that. But, whatever it took to get Wendy to ring her. She wanted to get Wendy back under her control. Wendy's sliding away because Wendy wants, she is to do with it, but she doesn't want to go down the same way. Donna's arrested now, so there's less chance than ever of Wendy getting in touch with Charlie or Donna, because there's going to be wiretaps on the phones, because they proved that in this court case. All the wiretaps have come out. So Wendy doesn't know who she can trust, and she's probably thinking nobody. But unfortunately for Wendy, there's this, for instance. This is Donna's diary or day planner. Very busy granny, Grandma Gotti. And it says here, Wendy, tell Dan. No, it wasn't Dan, was it? And then it says Vietnam. He must tell Charlie. He must call Charlie on his private line. Hiya, love. All right, go on then. Up you go. Go on. Oh, he's back. His fur's growing back lovely. But he's got a mixture of long hair and very short fur. Just long and short. And whoever it was that recommended the Miracle Dust to me, the one from America that I got from Amazon, what I did tonight was, just to be on the safe side, because I noticed he's been worrying his neck a bit, I put some on there. Oh, he didn't like it, but it's okay. He's back. All right, where have you been? Your paws are filthy. Oh, look at you. Come on then. Come on your blankie. Anyway, there's lots of evidence that Wendy is involved, because Wendy, tell something in Vietnam. Yeah, tell so-and-so, the fella in Vietnam, he must call Charlie on his private line. So Wendy is involved. There it is there in the pink in the middle. Pack for Vietnam. I see Murder Dan anyway. She seems to be an avid writer. That's Carl Steinbeck there. And there's another one from Donna to Wendy, and there's another one, Donna to Wendy. But Wendy in 2023 is not replying. Charlie's about to go down. Donna will be caught then. She was arrested in 2023, wasn't she, Donna? It's a mess. And everybody's saying, when is Wendy going to go? When is Wendy? And then she called in her friend Annie Cunningham because Wendy wasn't replying. Well, what would you do if you were Wendy? But mind you, we wouldn't be Wendy, would we? I don't think that there would ever be anything that I would ignore my family for. But this is outrageous. I can't imagine my mother ever grabbing a pistol and like Annie Oakley. It just wouldn't happen. My mother was a real pacifist. She'd always say, long road without a turning and all these sayings. Never would I ever consider my mother would do something like this. Where did Donna get this idea from? It was her and it was Charlie and their need to give Wendy what she wanted. She hated Dan. Well, Donna picked Dan Markell. Why did it all go sour? Dan, he was a Jew. They matched up with him because he was a Jew. But he was a proper Jew. He was a kosher Jew. He didn't eat the pork or the prawns or the lobsters and things. But Wendy did. She thought it was more important to give the children cheeseburgers than it was to honour the Jew in her, So the Donna, Adelson and Wendy were selective Jews. That's what you call it. They weren't really as interested in the religion as with the money and the accolade that it came with it, because Jews are renowned for being quite good business people, quite wealthy and stuff like that. So that's why Donna was looking for another Jewish husband for Wendy. Why can't Wendy find her own bloody husband? Why didn't she tell her mother to mind her own business? I don't understand it at all. Anyway, and then she was Googling the places without extradition, and it was Ho Chi Minh City. That's where she ended up. But I'll call it a day now because there's lots more coming. The Donna Show. I think I'll use that as my thumbnail. And look at that outfit on Meghan. All the money, couple of thousand on that. All sorts of rubbish we got. Oh, and Meghan in this interview with Blomberg. And in Britain, I got to say this. People might wonder why I like Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump, I don't know what he does behind the scenes, but he is all for, you can't deny this. He is all for the people. All for America. America first. Make America great again. Meanwhile, in gloomy old Great Britain, our government, which is, what you've got, the Donald Trump, our Prime Minister, is taking the British people to court taking the council to court to disallow what the judge said. We got migrants, illegal immigrants, coming and staying in these beautiful 4-star hotels and wrecking them, I suppose. And then in this one hotel in a place called Epping, there was one of the migrants was charged with sexual assault on a 14-year-old girl, which everybody just went up in arms again. Yes, it's only one out of all of them, and he's tried to say it's not all of us, but they've got a bad track record. And I was listening earlier on to Douglas Murray, and he said that children, youngsters, if they're brought up with no boundaries and no sense of right and wrong, like our culture and your culture, you don't, well, if you were a 23-year-old man, you don't make a beeline for 14-year-old girls. But if you're from that country and from those customs, you've been brought up to think that's normal, in the same way that Hamas has brought their young boys up to think it's okay to be seen with a gun, to walk around with a gun, to shoot with a gun, to kill people. That's how they've been programmed. And that's how the illegal immigrants have been programmed. So it's not our place to try and get them to adhere to our customs. They will never do that. They've been programmed that women are less than them, and that the hate for Christians is real. And it's a whole generation of people that think that those things are normal. How can we win? Especially when our own government is fighting against us. We went to court, I say we, it was the council up in Epping, to get these migrants removed from the hotel on the grounds that the hotel didn't have planning permission for migrants to stay. It was a hotel for paying guests. It was not, it didn't have the planning permission, the permission, you know, the sort of things that they get for migrants. So on that, they told them they had to go by the 25th of September or sometime like that. Meanwhile, after that, everyone was happy because then about 14 other hotels in UK were adopting the same policy. They want their migrants out, but they got to do it because of the government. So they were saying, no, we can't have you here anymore because you're staying in the hotel disobeys the planning laws, that you have to be a paying guest to stay in this hotel, which couldn't happen. So they were going to do it. And suddenly, the government, Yvonne Cooper, is in court overturning the judge's decision, which the people, us, had won. So Yvette Cooper, who is a civil servant, a government employee, working for us, turning against us. And that old saying, make that make sense. It doesn't make sense. My grandfather would be turning in his grave. Terrible to think that the government that you employ or you vote in has now turned on its own people. And that really does smack of 1984. An Animal Farm, and all the dystopian books that you read. It's that simple. It's how the youngsters are brought up. So they bring them up like heathens and then ship them over to a civilized country like UK or France. And I think in America, but I don't think you get as many. I think you get the Mexicans. And all holy hell breaks loose. It's not our fault. We didn't ask for them to come here. Anyway, that's enough of that. I know I shouldn't go on about it, but I just feel as though... And then if you speak up against it, you're in prison. Even Elon Musk knows this. There's a big 13th of September, a big free speech festival in London. Tommy Robinson's fronting it, but he says, please don't drink. You know, don't give them an excuse to arrest you all. And, you know, it's going to be a big thing on the 13th. And I think I'll be watching it from home, but I'll be right behind them. But you don't want a load of people getting drunk and having fights. That's not the objective of the exercise, is it? Anyway, I'll close now, and I'll see you as soon as I can. I'm going to watch and I'm going to follow. I'm going to stick with this trial right to the end, and I really hope that you catch up. It's 6 days in now. You can catch up. I know I haven't explained it very well, but I've told you about the passionate things. They're really passionate things. There's a lot of lies and a lot of things. Wendy, as soon as they arrest Wendy and Harvey, I'll be a lot happier. Anyway, thanks for listening. See you soon. Thank you very much. Cheerio.